Good evening, friends and loved ones, and welcome to the first ever virtual Ruby Red Gala to benefit the Red Bucket Equine Rescue. My name is Zack Krone, I'm your MC and auctioneer, and I will hold for applause. It has been my sincere pleasure. I started conducting this event 7 years and 9 pounds ago, and the fact that you're all here joining us from the comfort and luxury of your very own home, attending the very first virtual gala in your pajamas, deserves our utmost gratitude. So please give a big round of applause to the person sitting in your chair. Tonight we have a fantastic program in store for you, filled with wonderful items to support Red Bucket and for you to give generously. We have wonderful messages, special meetings with wonderful animals that we are here to support, that we love all so much. After all, tonight is a culmination of celebration and fine recreation. So if you are here for the gravitation towards libation, conversation, or virtual stimulation, we hope that you'll give kind contemplation towards a wonderful donation for the health and dedication of the Red Bucket population. It is my pleasure at this time to help us kick off the show to introduce a very generous benefactor that has supported our mission for years. It brings me a great honor to introduce Cecilia DeMille Presley.
I met Susan in 2009. She was running a stable for abused horses in Huntington Beach, and she had to move because they needed the stalls. I called her up cold. She said, by all means, come by and see me. I went down, and there was this beautiful woman saving all these abused horses. I couldn't believe it. I've been in the horse business all my life, and I never saw anything like this. I went home that night to my husband, and I said, Randall, I'd like to help this lady. Would you like to join me? He said, absolutely. And that was the beginning of our friendship and the beginning of our wonderful Red Bucket. What she's done is so miraculous and so wonderful. Susan, you say in rescuing, I was rescued, but we all were rescued with your kindness and your wonderful things you do for these poor animals. I love you and love what you're doing. And I feel rescued too. God bless you, Cece.
Hi, welcome to the Ranch the Horses Zone. I'm Susan Pierce, and welcome to our Ruby Red at-home event. While our gala may have been canceled this year, cruelty, abuse, and neglect have not been. As a matter of fact, during hard times, during a crisis, and during a pandemic, the horses need us more than ever. As a matter of fact, demand is rising swiftly. The Red Bucket mission has 3 parts. We rescue high-risk horses, animals who have suffered unspeakable abuse, who have been neglected and starved. We then train them, rehabilitate them, and perhaps most importantly, we give them time in which to heal and to regain confidence in mankind, and possibly most importantly, in themselves. All of our work is to serve the 3rd part of our mission, which is to find them forever homes, loving, safe homes. And for the animals who have been too damaged to be responsibly rehomed, we provide sanctuary for life. This year, we are fortunate to be able to invite everyone. Typically, we link arms across the tent, and this year we're linking arms across the nation. Thank you for joining us this evening and for being part of the solution. One of the great challenges that we have when people come to Red Bucket, they look around and they see our meticulously maintained ranch and our beautiful horses. They don't come to us that way though. And when Bentley came in, he was a body score of 1. As a matter of fact, our vet at the time told us the reason that he wouldn't lay down is because he knew that if he laid down, he'd never get up again. I'd like to introduce you to Bentley and his family, who have adopted 3 red bucket horses. And as you'll see, during the course of this program, we're not just saving horses, but we're completing families.
It was emotionally gut-wrenching. We held our breaths, not sure of whether he would make it or not. I don't understand how anyone could do this to an animal.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Bailey. I'm an LA City firefighter. I've been a city firefighter for 17 years, and I have adopted 3 horses from Red Bucket over the last 7 years. I went there originally to volunteer and to give back to something that I felt very strongly about. It was very shortly after I started there was when Bentley came in. He was in an isolation stall. They allowed me to go in and groom him, and I took a little face brush, and this horse literally laid his head in my arms for about 20 minutes while I brushed his face. It was as if he knew that he was going to be okay. After adopting Bentley, we ran across Maestro, fell in love with him. He's just a big, sweet, well-trained horse and very, very low-key, very easy to ride. Great family horse. I really have always wanted a miniature horse. And sure as heck, I think my son was about a little over 1, and she gave me a phone call. She says, hey, I have this sweet little boy named Tank. The first day they met, he was such a sweetheart. Tank was on a kill lot in Louisiana, a little cute little mini, 200-pound mini, really? It is so important that we get people to help donate and help contribute and help save these horses' lives. I know for sure, I can speak for my 3, they would not be here if it wasn't for Red Bucket. All of my horses, although all very different, we go from small to double extra large, all have had such a wonderful impact. They are literally part of our family, part of our everyday routine. My son is getting to grow up around these beautiful animals, and it's an awesome thing.
After watching that, I'm sure we can all agree that each and every one of us has a dutiful responsibility and wonderful opportunity to directly have a life-saving impact upon all the horses here at Red Bucket, just like Bentley. Each and every one of them are counting on you in this moment, and the only new ingredient necessary in this world that we are living in is the chance to evolve for the sake of what's important. So if you see a level of generosity that inspires you to give at any amount right below this screen or on your mobile device, please give here and now. It's a wonderful chance to save a life of a horse that cares so much about the adopters and the wonderful people in its life, and you are them. They are counting on you. Please give here and now. Speaking of the people that we serve, because we don't just serve animals, we take care of people too. I have the pleasure to introduce you to a lovely young woman by the name of Amy Knox, who grew up right here with Red Bucket.
I started volunteering at Red Bucket almost 10 years ago at the age of 13. Although I was young at the time, Susan decided to take a chance on me, a decision that changed the course of my life. I started volunteering every Sunday alongside some of the most incredible horse people. I watched as horses and volunteers alike came through the gates of Red Bucket seeking solace and peace. At the age of 15, I was able to go on a rescue mission to save 3 horses who were starving in a riverbed. A homeless person had taken these horses and penned them up with no food and no water. Thanks to Red Bucket, we were able to save all 3 horses, and I was lucky enough to get to name one of them Faith. I named her Faith because I had faith that Red Bucket would give her a better life and a second chance. Today, these 3 horses are happy and healthy and living at Red Bucket. Because of Red Bucket, the volunteers, and people, I was able to find my passion in life and pursue it beyond the gates of the ranch. Helping people find relief from abuse and trauma is now a part of my full-time job as a youth mental health coach in a home for teen girls who are escaping abusive situations. Thank you so much, Red Bucket, for all you've done for me, the horses, and other volunteers. I wouldn't be who I am today without you.
At Red Bucket, it takes 48 man-hours to clean and feed this place. You know, on Sundays especially, where it's strictly volunteers. The pandemic has been hard on the people for sure.
Well, this is like the best job there is. Getting up there in years until the next day.
The Red Bucket people, the commitment of the team who's come in, and I'm talking about 117 degrees. We had some of the longest stretches of heat waves. People would say with joy in their voice, I'm glad I have a duty today.
Here's some more.
The team is tight, and we have more esprit de corps because people are feeling like they're accomplishing something. They're working together for the horses. I just can't say enough about the team. You know, we're a volunteer organization, and we've had to really peel back the volunteers, and the work is getting done, and it's hard. Consider we have 100 horses on this property. If an average horse creates 50 pounds of waste a day, just do the math in terms of the sheer magnitude of what we need to shovel just to keep this place clean. And it's all done with just a lot of grace, a little bit of humor, and a ton of dedication.
Up next, you're about to meet a wonderful horse by the name of Austin and his adoptor, Dina. How long has Austin and Dina been together?
They've been together 9 years, and Dina adopted Austin 8 years ago, which I think is another wonderful way of demonstrating the longevity of the relationships that we have with our adopters and with our horses.
Check this out.
I've had Austin for almost 10 years now. He has been a great addition to our family. I had just lost my horse of 10 years. I was heartbroken. It was either get another horse or be done with horses altogether, and I've ridden since I was 10. And my last horse was off the track. He was a rescue, and so he was so great that I wanted to kind of do that again. So I looked for off the track horses that we could adopt, and I found out about Red Bucket. In California, he raced 7 times. He never finished ahead of a single horse. His trainers and breeders and connections just dumped him, and several other horses in their racing stable. They were eating each other's tails, and they were in pretty pitiful and sad condition. These horses have seen the worst of humanity, and they never want them to be in any kind of situation like that again. So they take their time and make sure it's right. They were very protective of him, and they loved him so much, and so they really waited to make sure they had the right match. And 10 years later, I think you guys did a great job. I did teach him how to jump. He's gone on to show in hunters, jumpers, eventing. I've taken him on trail, and he's really just kind of excelled at everything that I've ever asked him to do. He's had a new life for himself. You know, all he ever did was try hard when he raced. He wasn't the fastest, but that's what they're bred to do, and he tried as hard as he could, and he wasn't fast enough, but after, you know, giving his all, he got dumped. You know, and through Red Bucket, he's had kind of a reincarnation, you know, and he has had a whole new life where he's loved and spoiled, and, you know, just happy.
Well, recently my family moved 6 hours away from the ranch, and so we decided to adopt 2 horses and a donkey. But I want to tell you about my just one more horse that we adopted, Hansel, a super beautiful Pintalusa gelding. He loved being here. He loved where we lived. There was lots of snow. He enjoyed rolling in it. He played in it. He just had the best time ever. I'm sad to say that 10 months after we adopted him, he came down with really bad cancer that had spread through his whole body. And we never regretted for a minute adopting him because he just brought so much more life here. We just loved him to death. He was thrown away at an auction where no one wanted him anymore and he wasn't loved. And he got to spend the rest of his life, the rest of his days, knowing that he was loved and he was special and he meant something. So a group of wild donkeys was rounded up. These donkeys were pregnant, and the danger was that they would be sold at a meat auction. Red Bucket sprang into action and rescued a group of them. One of them was a beautiful donkey named Peanut, and she gave birth to an amazing, sassy little firecracker named Charlotte. And we decided that Charlotte was definitely going to be part of our herd. Go! She brings so much joy to our family and to our herd and to my horses. Come on! Without Red Bucket, every single one of them would not be alive today. So thank you, Red Bucket, for saving your lives.
We are not going to let the horses down. It's not just the horses that we're responsible for today, and that's huge, but it's for the thousands of horses that are counting on us in the future.
Red Bucket closed the moment that we received the stay-at-home orders.
We can never have any more than 10 people on the farm at any time, and that includes people who are cleaning and feeding. So we really have to limit team members to just a handful. The horses' greatest needs are being taken care of. As a matter of fact, they're being fed and watered consistently and cleaned on time, making sure that they have the enrichment that they deserve and that we've promised them.
Every horse has to be fed, every horse has to...
It has been crushing financially. Our hay bill alone runs upwards of $19,000 to $20,000 a month. You know, we also have a mortgage. We have vet bills, which are fairly astronomical when you consider 135 plus horses. We're a nonprofit that relies solely on the generosity of people, and we haven't even been able to invite them to the ranch. No fundraising, no visits, no tours. We rely on fundraising to keep this place going. So we've had to really rethink, reimagine, reconsider, how can we keep this place going without the ability for people to see our life-saving work? You know, to go on tours, to come to a farm to table, to come to a seminar. We're going to have to do it all now virtually, and that's without the intimacy of people being able to see and touch and experience our work. In spite of a really difficult year, we've had some pretty phenomenal achievements. 8 horses who came through the gates who needed us tremendously, desperate in many different ways. We've also been able to send 15 horses to forever homes. That is probably some of the most fulfilling work that we can talk about. Red Bucket relies on people's generosity, and the generosity doesn't change with the amount of the gift. And we are very grateful for any amount that people feel like they can contribute and honor our life-saving work.
We've all heard that very overused phrase, unprecedented times. And yes, while that's true, how do we create unprecedented opportunity to achieve unprecedented results? What if that opportunity was right here and right now to save the lives of these horses that are so counting on you? Think of our program like this. When a hurricane hits, we all give towards the relief effort. We're all moved by those beautiful voluntary acts of kindness that we see on the news. Well, COVID-19 is the hurricane of our society, and in its wake has left a path of uncertainty, not just for people, but for animals who depend on those people. That's where you come in. You are that singular force that can save their life. So please, at this time, choose to donate and choose a path of higher understanding, and understand that happiness is the new wealth, joy is the new success, and kindness is the new inner peace. Give below at any amount that you seem fit, to where your capability is equal to your compassion.
My responsibility is to ensure that we have an eye for the future and that we're being strategic and we're thinking about ways of creating a sustainable organization that will survive beyond a pandemic. And there are a couple of really exciting projects this year. And one would be a documentary with the working title of Saving Opportunity about, our one and only Denny. In filming the beginning of the documentary, we were approached by a filmmaker who asked us to collaborate with him on a feature film. We also were selected to be one of the sets for the upcoming series SOLANNA, and we'll be collaborating very heavily and providing some consulting on that series. And a good majority of it will be filmed here at Red Bucke. What we're really hoping by coming into people's homes is once people understand the impact of what's happening to the horses, I think that we will start to see a behavioral change. People will be more aware and more thoughtful about what in the world happens to these horses, how high risk they are.
So Ryan, each year to the center.
I don't know why.
I'm not pointing the finger. I don't think the finger should be pointed at anyone. There's a lot of that's going on right now, and all that does is polarize people and also create a lack of accountability. What needs to happen is for us all to come together for the mutual benefit of the horse and create accountability, conversation, and then have a plan for what happens to these horses when they're no longer performing. They are over-commoditized and they're suffering because of that.
Hello, and thank you for joining us this evening and participating in the Ruby Red at Home. Tonight is all about the horses and the miraculous life-saving work of Red Bucke Equine Rescue. This pandemic has been hard for so many, and small grassroots nonprofits like Red Bucke are suffering as they are burdened greatly with the increased demand and dwindling resources. COVID has robbed Red Bucke from inviting visitors to the ranch or holding any traditional fundraisers. Please give generously tonight and not only help save a life, but help ensure that Red Bucke will continue to save abused and starving horses for years to come.
Earlier today, Susan Pierce took me on a tour of Red Bucke Equine Rescue, where I got to meet some of our wonderful treasured residents. Take a look. So where are we right here?
Well, this is called Finbar's Arena, and the horses are all out and they are getting their enrichment, which is a big part of our program.
Enrichment. So they're getting like a 401k or no.
It's all about mind, body, and spirit.
Okay.
And so horses are very social animals, and they are meant to be walking and eating in social herds. And so that's what we do. In our organization, our team members are basically rotating horses 24 hours a day to ensure that's Ranger. He's like very committed.
There's how many floating around in here? And they're all geldings, if I have them.
These gentlemen are all geldings, yes.
And so who would you say is the head honcho? Who's calling the
Do you
shots?
want to take one guess?
I think it's Elwell
This is
right
Elwell,
here.
yeah.
Elwell knows what's up.
Yes, Elwell does
That's for
know
sure.
what's
So
up.
is there any there's no females in here, so is there any hanky-panky happening at Red Bucket?
Wait a minute, are you talking about with the horses? What are you asking?
Well, looks like we have a different kind of rescue situation going on. Oh, excuse me.
Well, I have a lot more of the ranch to show you. Are you up for a little bit of walking?
Absolutely. We got so many people to meet here.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go this way then. Okay.
Oh my gosh, who is
This is Mary Breckenridge.
Hello, Mary. Oh, it's a puppy horse.
Yeah,
Can I have one, Mummy? Oh, look at you. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean to scare you. Can you
Here,
come
you
here?
can offer her a treat.
I'd be happy to. Hello. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have a treat right there. Nice little bow. Where does her name come from?
Her name came from a donor's guinea pig. So we honor people with the naming horses after them, and in this case, this donor has a horse named after them, so we went with the guinea pig.
She's absolutely adorable.
Yeah, she sure is.
And how old is she?
She's about 19.
And how much does she weigh?
She was 280 when she came in. She looks about 310, 315 to me right now.
This is like the smallest 300-pound animal. You are just the most adorable thing. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Oh, you even smell nice. Yeah. And a little cute little bow in your hair, too.
Yeah. Amber's taking good care of her.
Yeah. Oh, she's a doll. So tell us a little bit about her.
Well, Mary Breckenridge was almost crippled when she came in. And you'll notice now she's having her enrichment with Amber. And I think she's even trotting now, isn't she, Amber?
Yes.
Yeah.
I got a hug. Did you see that?
I did.
Just got a full-on hug. Oh, the puppy horse. You said she's getting her enrichment. What does that consist of?
Mind, body, and spirit. So we are enriching their lives.
Oh, they're doing pretty well.
Yes, they are.
Where she started, where she is now.
Yes, indeed.
She's beautiful.
Yes, and that's the Red Bucket Promise.
Goodness. Thank you for introducing me to her.
You're welcome.
Can she fit in the back of a Volvo?
Oh, yeah, good luck. You'll have to get by Amber.
Okay. Thank you, Amber. Oh, she's the best.
Yeah, super cute.
You're here for a reason. It's totally true. You're part of a world that is counting on you. Remember that next time a day goes all wrong. To somebody else, you will always be strong. You're here for a reason. If you think you're not, I would just say that perhaps you forgot. A piece of the world that is precious and dear would surely be missing if you weren't here. If not for your smile and your laugh and your heart, this place we call home would be minus a part. Thank goodness you're here. Thank goodness times two. I just can't imagine a world without you.
Susan, even before the COVID-19 pandemic, you were receiving hundreds of calls asking you to take in horses, and now even more so after the COVID-19 pandemic, of people who are suffering under financial strain, trying to decide what to do. And so I'm curious, how do you decide what to say to these people?
Well, the most important word is yes. And that's always the goal. What I can tell you is the one thing that differentiates Red Bucket is the fact that we unconditionally serve. And we will never, as long as I'm responsible for this organization, we will never, ever say no to an animal that has suffered unspeakable abuse, that is starving or neglected.
And it's in that spirit of Red Bucket that you permeate throughout this area, is that we have the opportunity to introduce you to the inspirational story of Mira.
I'd never seen anything like it. Every bone on her body, was poking out. Pressure sores filled with flies. She just looked at you with just these eyes filled with anguish and desperation. Anguish that she'd been experiencing for decades. She's standing in a pipe corral with this blue tattered halter tightened so tight around her face. After dismantling all the panels, we weren't sure if we were going to be able to walk her to the street where the trailer was sitting. There definitely was a point where we weren't sure she was going to be able to make it. Those first hours, days, and weeks were pretty terrifying. We checked on her at least every 30 or 45 minutes. Once we kind of moved past the most critical points in getting her stable, you could see the bloom to her coat. All of the ribs had faded. Mira was able to leave her stall, and we would slowly walk her to a nearby turnout so that she could graze and safely over a fence socialize with the other horses. She'd walk herself into her stall and lay down on a nice pile of shavings, and every night I would go in and check on her. She'd pick her little head up when she heard me. I think when we rescued her, it was so apparent how damaged she was that we knew we didn't have years with her. Because I officially adopted her on my birthday that year, so June 1st, and we lost her, just over a month afterwards. And I'd been a part of her life, though, every step of the way, just that it just wasn't enough time. Even if you have years with the animal and you have to say goodbye, it's not enough. The hand of a human being, I just, to this day, I can't fathom or understand why that would ever happen. But I definitely think she knew she was loved and what a tender hand felt like.
You should never doubt, not for 1 second, that a small caring community of people such as yourselves can change things for the better. In fact, in many cases, that's the only thing that ever really has. So don't let your mind be disrupted by what your heart is telling you. Our hearts and our souls call us to do more, to give more, to make every moment meaningful. That is the gift called life. And it is through those choices of generosity that you are creating life here at Red Bucket. And one of the most important, vital, and effective ways to preserve a healthy life for these animals is through our hay barn. This is our dire need, and this is where you come in. This is the singular act, the choice that you can make to become the best version of yourself, the most proud version of yourself, because generosity is the bedmark by which we value ourselves. So now we need you to be generous more so than ever. It costs nearly $20,000 a month to feed our horses and keep our hay barn full. That is where you come in. Imagine if everyone who is watching tonight was able to provide approximately 5 hay bales. We would have enough to cover a month and then more, maybe 2 months. And all you have to do is ask yourself, can I? Can I give $100? Can I give $200 or $300 or $500 or $1,000? Will I be okay? Can I still feed my family? if I give $100 or $500? Can I still pay my bills and get a latte every day? Of course you can. And if you can, you should. This is a wonderful opportunity to rise to the occasion, to look at yourself proverbially in the mirror and ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be in this moment? You are a series of choices, and all we ask you to do is to choose a path of life and preservation for these animals. You are a part of this family now, and all we ask is that we collectively come together to preserve the lives that we care about. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your continued generosity. And whether you give below here, this screen, or on any sort of device, whether tonight or tomorrow, we greatly appreciate it, because every time you give, you are making a decision. And in this case, your decision equals destiny for these animals.
Hello, my name is Dr. David Tresser, and I'm honored to be on the team of veterinarians that care for horses here at the Red Bucket Rescue. When I talk to my clients about Red Bucket, I often say I wish that I was a Red Bucket horse. I just wouldn't want to go through what it takes to become one. These horses have been exploited, neglected, and abused because of people with generosity like you. They get adopted into a Red Bucket family. There they receive love, attention, food, training and medical care, check all over his mucous membrane, and ultimately they're matched with a forever home that they truly deserve. Thank you for your financial support. You are changing the lives of these animals forever.
$116,000 acres now burning, fueled by those fierce Santa Ana winds. These owners working to evacuate their horses.
In the 2017 fire, Susan reached out to us and said, you know, house prints, and are you guys okay? And when you're so scared and you're not thinking, that means everything. I walked through these gates. I always felt it was kind of like heaven on earth. Prince came in as an ex-show horse, and he was supposed to go to slaughter. A little girl who took lessons at the barn he was at became very concerned and contacted Red Bucket. I was here the day he came in. First of all, he's breathtakingly gorgeous. Every time you walked by his stall, he'd lift up his leg, then he was begging for treats. And he just had this really kind of cute personality. I got assigned to groom him, and I fell in love with him.
This Southern California wildfire exploded in a matter of minutes. Residents ordered to get out.
This year, with the fires, they evacuated Irvine Regional Park, which is very close, and we were starting to plan, what are we going to do?
And a brush fire has closed down Irvine Regional Park as well. OC firefighters say 21 acres have burned, but they have stopped.
Knowing that Red Bucket's behind you and behind your horse, like in a disaster such as the fires, that means everything. I know his family will rally around him, and they rally around you too as an owner. Whatever you need, Red Bucket's going to be there, and that means the world when you need it, when you're in a crisis.
You're about to hear a remarkable story of redemption, survival, hope, and love. It's my sincere pleasure to introduce you to the story of Caspian.
This is Caspian. I adopted him from Red Bucket in 2012, and he has been an absolute fantastic partner and so much fun to train with and to show.
Caspian was part of a large rescue that we did in 2009, and there were 50 horses that were part of a breeding scandal. It was like walking into a graveyard with haunted eyes and just skeletons.
I had
don't know if it was intuition or faith. I just knew he deserved to have his own person. And I also knew he'd be a good partner. The greatest validation of our work is when a horse finds a forever home and is safe and loved forever. Two dead ponies that were partially buried under a pile of manure. On that same small farm, they found two other minis who were in serious state of neglect and abuse. The horse was Mary Breckenridge. She was clearly suffering. Animal control brought the minis to us on a Friday. Our farrier wouldn't even wait until Monday to come and trim her feet. He came out and brought his family on Sunday. I had a very smart person tell me once, you can only bring a horse back so many times. The way that we start and train horses is very important. Game Boy was not started well. He was started by somebody who significantly overused their spur. And rather than teaching him partnership, he learned fear and then he learned anger. And it was difficult, almost impossible to ride. Suffering takes many forms. We had a woman who approached us. She had been very concerned about Martin Fox. She was aware of the fact that he was being overused day after day after day after day with no break. He had very sore feet, barely able to walk. Very sore back. He's a little horse, little tiny guy. His back was just covered in a calico blanket of saddle sores. How have people become so callous, so unaccountable for animals who belong to them?
My name is Amber and I'm one of the team members of Red Bucket Rescue. Pretty much realized, even being around horses for so many years, I never actually thought that they have no choice in their life. They can't decide when to eat, or if they don't have any water, they can't tell somebody that their bucket's empty. Putting them first, so it's just taught me I want my life to be about them.
Mary Breckenridge has been here for 3 months. She has a spark in her eye and she's able to walk more comfortably. And I would hope that within the next 12 months, we're looking at a little horse that's much more comfortable. And I am so grateful we said yes. We rebuilt Game Boy's confidence in himself and in people. And we started from the beginning. And probably the best part of all of it, helped him discover a job that he wants to do. Game Boy, a horse that had a really rocky start and was potentially on a road towards being abused, has now found a job he enjoys. He's found confidence in himself, confidence in people, joy in the work, and is ready to partner. It was astonishing for us to consider this little horse, day in and day out, would go up that hill with, again, quite heavy people, and he was so kind and benevolent that he actually took care of the people. And now, Red Bucket's job is to take care of Martin Fox. If we tell the story to enough people and inspire enough people, then we can really link arms and make a difference.
Hi, I'm Jody Mudd, retired PGA Tour player and thoroughbred owner and breeder for some 20 years now. I've always been passionate about all horses and equine welfare. I fully support the amazing life-saving work of Red Bucke and am grateful for the excellence and compassion and integrity of Red Bucke brand. This pandemic, as you know, has created more desperation for all horses and is seriously threatening Red Bucke's ability to save and serve. Please link arms with me and give generously to Red Bucke. Help the horses. They're all counting on us. Thank you very much.
Like so many of the show horses who come to us, and by the way, they're coming in more than I ever thought that we'd see. I think people have an image of a rescue as serving the starving, the abused, the horses that are dumped in the riverbeds. But more and more, we're seeing these guys come in, the ex-show horses, and they're treated like they're pretty special until they're not, and that's when they need Red Bucke. Archie had multiple owners over his career, and my goodness, his career spanned almost 2 decades, 44 pages of show record, and many championships. And, he was treated like a pretty special guy. Came in definitely very, very thin. And I think more than that, what our team noted with him, it's that he was so anxious and depressed. Took a while for him to feel safe again. And a lot of cookies. Definitely a horse who's known a cookie or two in his day.
Another great example of longevity and love and hope and redemption found here at Red Bucke is the story of Rexanne. She's been with us since the beginning, and she adopted a young horse by the name of Leo. Let's take a look.
Hi, my name is Rexanne Anderson, and I have been a member of the Red Bucke team since 2009. My first Red Bucke horse was Striker. When Striker was rescued, he was just an inconvenience. Another horse stuffed into a pen with 7 or 8 of his brothers. Red Bucke has a motto of one more, and Striker, stubborn is a good way to describe him, didn't get on the truck the first time. And so Red Bucke went back for him. And if they hadn't, my life would be so different. My family's life would be so different without having him and the connection that him and I had. As Susan will say, he chose me, and I totally agree. In the 7 years that I had with him, he went from being unlovable to toting around my then toddlers, and he loved them. He loved me. Leo's rescue was very different than Striker's. Leo was once loved. He was a champion. He got an injury that stopped the blue ribbons from coming in, and he wasn't of value to his previous owners anymore. And so they discarded him. His stall at the front of the gate of the ranch to the cross ties, which really isn't that far. He would stop like every 20 feet. I was like, what is going on? But then I quickly realized that he was waiting for my kids to catch up to him. He needed them. He wanted to love on them and to dote on them and to have them love on him. And watching him be groomed by them in the cross ties, it was a complete picture and sealed the deal that he was definitely the horse for us.
Happy boy, Leo.
I'm so proud to be part of this organization, so proud to be one of those volunteers that's linking arms. I thank all the volunteers out there and all of the donors, because you all make this happen. You've made our happily ever after come true. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
So much of our work is invisible. It is silent, selfless, and it lives in the shadows. Michelle Walker is a gift to Red Bucket and to the world.
The difference Red Bucket is making, I mean, you just take any horse. They literally would not be alive today if it wasn't for Red Bucket. Red Bucket's providing a home for just about every category of equine that's been discarded. We work so hard every day to honor our commitment that we've made to the horses that we've been privileged to say yes to. I love every horse that's here. I can hear one whinny and know why they're calling or, where they are at any point in the day. But there are more MIRA'S out there or other show horses out there. So where's the solution for horses going forward? That's what really drives me. Having a vision for the future and having, real significant impact on finding a solution so that our show horses have somewhere to go. That there's a place for somebody to take their horse before they get dumped in a riverbed, and then are starved or tied to a tree. Or maybe if MIRA'S owner had, somewhere where she felt safe enough to call and say, hey, I'm in trouble and I have horses that need help, to be a part of an organization that is able to say yes to all of those phone calls, then that's pretty significant impact. That's what Red Bucket's trying to do.
There are between 130 and 150,000 unwanted horses in this nation, and those numbers are rapidly increasing. With the pandemic, the urgency, the need, and the suffering is increasing. Please don't forget them.
My name was Zack Krone, and it was a sincere pleasure serving Red Bucket for the 7th time. Continue to give tonight, tomorrow, or whenever you feel compelled to be a part of our life-saving mission. Take care of yourselves and each other.
This evening would not be possible without the generosity of our sponsors. We'd like to take a moment to express profound gratitude for your life-saving impact and express our deepest appreciation for our dedicated and selfless team of volunteers and for every single person who has participated in our special event. Thank you.
Hours and 10,000 more. Oh, if that's what it takes to learn that sweetheart of yours. And I might never get there, but I'm gonna try. If it's 10,000 hours or the rest of my life. Trying to stand to my feet. shake off the pain I carry, the scars that remind me I'm fighting for my life. I don't have a choice. My fate has been decided. Who will be my voice? The heart that beats in me was made by God's own hands, living for a reason, part of a bigger plan. When hope can find its way, only love will stand. Don't we all deserve a second chance?